As we grow older, life often presents challenges we never anticipated. One of the most painful experiences for many parents is feeling ignored or undervalued by their own children. After years of sacrifice, love, and effort, it's natural to hope for a strong and meaningful bond with your children as you enter your golden years. But when that bond begins to feel one-sided, it can leave you questioning everything. Did I do something wrong? Why do they treat me this way? How do I handle this without falling apart? Let's face it, feeling neglected by your children is a heartbreaking reality for many seniors. It might start subtly, like a missed phone call or a quick distracted conversation. Over time, those small moments can grow into something more painful, being left out of family gatherings, feeling like an afterthought, or even being outright dismissed. For parents who've spent decades nurturing their children, this shift can feel like an emotional betrayal. It's important to remember, though, that these feelings of rejection don't always come from malice. Sometimes life simply gets in the way. Your children might be juggling demanding careers, their own families, or personal challenges you may not be aware of. But understanding the reasons doesn't always ease the hurt. What matters most is how you respond to this situation, and that's where calm, self-reflection, and self-care come into play. Understanding the pain. When your children don't value or respect you, the emotional toll can be immense. Loneliness, sadness, and even anger are common feelings that can arise in such situations. It's easy to let these emotions fester, leading to resentment or a breakdown in communication. However, holding on to these negative feelings can hurt you more than it helps. For instance, many parents internalize the blame, thinking, was I too strict, too lenient? Did I not give them enough love or attention? While self-reflection is healthy, it's crucial to remember that relationships are a two-way street. Your children's actions are influenced by many factors, including their personalities, life circumstances, and personal struggles. Instead of fixating on why this is happening, focus on what you can control, your response. By staying calm and composed, you create the foundation for healing, not just for your relationship with your children, but for yourself. A shift in perspective. The first step in handling neglect is to shift your perspective. It's natural to feel hurt, but dwelling on the pain can trap you in a cycle of negativity. Ask yourself, is my happiness entirely dependent on my children's actions? Am I giving them the power to dictate my emotional well-being? This is where a powerful realization begins. Your worth is not defined by how others treat you, even if those others are your own children. It's a hard truth to accept, but it's also incredibly freeing. Take the story of many seniors who faced this situation. They found that once they stopped focusing solely on their children's behavior, they began rediscovering parts of themselves they had forgotten, hobbies, passions, and relationships outside the family dynamic. Redirecting your energy. When your children don't value you, it's tempting to pour even more effort into winning their attention. You might find yourself calling them more often, offering help they haven't asked for, or going out of your way to make them notice you. While these actions come from a place of love, they can sometimes backfire, creating feelings of suffocation or guilt in your children. Instead, consider redirecting that energy toward yourself. What hobbies or activities have you always wanted to explore, but never had the time for? Are there community groups or clubs where you can meet like-minded people? Could you volunteer for a cause that inspires you? Engaging in these activities doesn't just fill your time. It boosts your confidence, reminds you of your self-worth, and creates new sources of joy, which shows your children, and more importantly yourself, that your happiness isn't dependent on their validation. Preparing for the next step. As you begin to focus on yourself, it doesn't mean you should give up on your relationship with your children. Communication is key, but it's important to approach these conversations with calmness and clarity. Reacting in anger or frustration can push them further away, while a composed approach opens the door to understanding. The first section ends here with a critical moment of realization that your well-being is in your hands. Stay calm, focus on yourself, and prepare to address the situation with wisdom and grace. Taking action with grace. Now that you've begun focusing on yourself and regaining your confidence, the next step is addressing your relationship with your children. While it's important to remain calm, that doesn't mean avoiding the issue altogether. Open, honest communication can often bridge the gap and create opportunities for understanding. When you're ready, choose a quiet moment to talk with your children. Avoid doing this during family gatherings or over the phone when distractions are likely. A face-to-face conversation, if possible, allows for better connection and clarity. Start the conversation with I statements to express how you feel without placing blame. For example, I feel hurt when I don't hear from you as often. I've been missing the close relationship we used to have, and I'd like to understand how we can improve things. By framing your feelings this way, you invite a dialogue rather than triggering defensiveness. Remember, the goal is not to accuse, but to reconnect, listening with an open heart. During these conversations, be prepared to listen. Your children may share perspectives you hadn't considered, stress at work, family obligations, or even personal struggles they didn't want to burden you with. For instance, your son might say, "Mom, I didn't call because I've been working 12-hour shifts and I felt too tired to talk." Or your daughter might admit, "I've been going through some personal issues and I didn't know how to share them with you." While these explanations may not erase the hurt you felt, they can help you understand that neglect doesn't always come from a lack of love. Sometimes life's pressures simply take precedence. Setting healthy boundaries. As much as you want to reconnect with your children, it's also crucial to set healthy boundaries. This ensures that your happiness doesn't hinge entirely on their actions. Boundaries protect your emotional well-being while still allowing space for meaningful relationships. For example, if your child only calls once a month, don't wait by the phone every day hoping for more. Instead, enjoy the moments you do get and use the rest of your time to focus on other fulfilling activities. Avoid overextending yourself to meet their needs if it comes at the cost of your own well-being. For instance, if they frequently ask for financial help or childcare support, learn to say no when it feels overwhelming. By setting these boundaries, you create a dynamic where love and respect flow both ways, rather than feeling one-sided. Building a support network. If your children continue to neglect or undervalue you despite your efforts, remember that family doesn't have to be limited to blood relations. Many seniors find comfort and companionship in building new relationships outside their immediate family. Consider joining local senior groups, volunteering, or taking part in community activities. These spaces allow you to connect with people who share your interests and values. Over time, these connections can become as meaningful and supportive as family ties. One woman, for example, found solace in her church group after feeling neglected by her children. Through weekly meetings and events, she built a network of friends who offered the care and companionship she had been longing for. Letting go of what you can't control. Despite your best efforts, there may be times when your relationship with your children doesn't improve the way you'd hoped. This can be a painful reality to accept, but it's also an opportunity for growth. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing the need to control things that are beyond your influence. By doing so, you free yourself from the emotional weight of constant worry and disappointment. Instead of focusing on what's missing, shift your attention to what you have. Celebrate the relationships, experiences, and opportunities that bring joy to your life. Find peace in knowing that you've done your best and recognize that your worth is not determined by how others treat you. Embracing a new chapter. As you move forward, you'll find that staying calm, focusing on yourself, and nurturing new connections open the door to a more fulfilling life. You may even discover that your own transformation inspires your children to reconnect with you in unexpected ways. For example, your newfound confidence and independence might make your children see you in a new light. They may begin to appreciate your strength and resilience, sparking a renewed respect for the person you've become. Remember, life in old age is not about waiting for others to validate your worth. It's about finding happiness and purpose on your terms. Whether it's through personal hobbies, new friendships, or simply enjoying quiet moments of peace, you have the power to create a life that feels rich and meaningful. Final thoughts. When your children don't value or neglect you, staying calm and focusing on yourself isn't just the best response. It's the most empowering one. By taking control of your emotions, building a support network, and letting go of what you can't control, you're setting the stage for a life filled with peace, joy, and self-respect. At the end of the day, your happiness matters. So take a deep breath, embrace this new chapter, and remember, you are stronger and more valuable than you may realize.